Welcome to the circus, where we bear witness to many a beast, but there is one among them that is a true force of nature, the Beastmaster. The Beastmaster is exactly what it sounds like, as it can capture, tame, and use monsters in combat to various ends, be it damage, buffs, debuffs, ailments, or healing. The Beastmaster themselves have a pretty strong stat spread, boasting respectable offense and exceptional defenses, with the only major hiccups being in their restorative power and crit chance. The weapon affinities of this job can also be a tad bit limiting at first, but spears and bows oftentimes provide enough for it not to be too noticeable. But let's go ahead and pivot over to talking about the Beastmaster's specialties, starting with Animal Rescue. When the Beastmaster's max HP is reduced below 20%, they will release a random monster to do their attack free of charge. This is about as situational as you would think. You might get a monster that heals the damage you just took. You might get some extra damage or buffs. Or you might not get anything of value at all. The free cost of this specialty is a nice novelty though. The Beastmaster's second specialty is Creature Comforts. With each capture you succeed in, the Beastmaster's base stats will be raised by a set value, shown on screen now. Now, you might be thinking, oh, well, if I just capture a bunch of monsters, I'll be unstoppable, right? And that's where you'd be correct, dear viewer. Look at this. If you dedicate enough time to it, you can max out almost every stat in the game, making the Beastmaster a god amongst men that can do basically anything you want it to. Now, in a normal playthrough, you might see some gains from this specialty, but it probably won't be as ludicrous as this. If you have the chance to capture monsters in a fight, it wouldn't be a bad idea to take them just to help raise the benefits of this specialty as you play through the game. Now, the Beastmaster's special move is Their Master's Voice, where the user will call up their favorite monsters, Phil, Mo, John, and Thompson, to rush the enemy down, dealing a powerful physical attack to all foes. The bonus effect of this special move is a 15% boost to the party's physical and magic attack. As with almost any other special move, you can get it pretty frequently, so don't be afraid to use it on any unsuspecting opponents. But we've done a lot of talking about how captured monsters can help the Beastmaster, but we haven't discussed how to actually get them. Well, that's what capture is for. This ability lets the user capture a weakened monster. With the lower the HP of the target, the higher the chance of capturing them gets. There is a really weird and specific formula for capturing that normally I would share right now, but if you just bring the enemy down to 1 HP, the chance of capturing them becomes 100%, so there really isn't a real reason to worry about that. You can accrue up to 99 of each monster, and the entire team shares this collection. And yes, you sadly cannot capture humans and use them in combat, no matter how hard you try. Better to put them out of their misery. Now, once you've captured a monster, you can set them loose with Off the Leash or Off the Chain. Sending out a monster with either of these abilities will have them use their actions one time and then leave the field. Once a monster has been used, they will be gone for good, and you will need to collect them again if you run out of that particular beastie. The ability they will use can be seen in their description when you hover over their name, but some of these actions may not be entirely clear on what they do until you use that particular monster in combat. Off the Leash is the standard version of these monster attacks, requiring no MP or BP to use, while Off the Chain will roughly triple the damage the monsters might do while costing 2 extra BP to activate. It is important to note that your monster stats are independent from your team's, so this means that what you see is what you get for the whole game. And overall, some of these monster attacks can come in handy early on, but they do start to drop off in quality as your party gets access to stronger gear and more job options. But let's move away from the monster aspect of the Beastmaster for a little bit and look at the other moves at its disposal, like Staggering Swipe. This ability is similar to the Vanguard's Shield Stun, where you can use this to attack an enemy and slightly delay their next action. Situationally useful, but it can come in handy when trying to keep an enemy from moving too soon, especially if you need time to recover from a rough spot. Next is Muzzle. This ability has a chance to inflict silence on all enemies. Silence is a very annoying ailment to play around, so being able to apply it to rare monsters and occasionally some bosses can really make a big difference. However, the times where this can come in handy are few and far between, so you probably won't be making use of this too often. Up next is Mow Down. For a pretty low MP cost, This ability lets the Beastmaster deal physical damage to all enemies at once. Damage falloff from hitting multiple targets is applied here, like group casting magic. Bowdown is a good way for physical attackers to help clear out waves of enemies in the early to mid game, as they won't have access to an attack like this before then. It doesn't have much use outside of this without boosting your stats higher with creature comforts, but that doesn't diminish its usefulness. Now we've come to Mercy Strike and Mercy Smash. These are attacks that deal a respectable amount of damage, but have the little addition of being unable to drop an enemy's HP below 1. Use this to easily capture stronger enemies with higher HP pools, or as the Beastmaster's main way of fighting bosses. While, yeah, it can't deal the killing blow, both of these attacks can allow the Beastmaster to contribute to a fight in some way that isn't a limited resource, like using monsters. Next, we move on to Muzzling Maelstrom. This is sort of a hybrid between Muzzle and Mowdown, as this attack will dish out 4 powerful attacks to random enemies, with each hit having a chance to inflict silence. This can be seen as the Beastmaster's main damage tool, as its total damage will vastly outpace Mercy Smash. The silence is a nice bonus on the side, but the attack portion of this move is normally what is going to be used more. Also, for some reason, you must have a spear equipped to use this skill. It isn't a big deal, but it can be something that is easily overlooked initially. Last up for combat abilities is Nature's Blessing. All of the user's MP costs will be reduced to 0 for 2 turns, including the one that you use this ability on, with the only cost for this action being 1 BP. Use this if you have a very MP-hungry strategy and need help keeping the amount of ether chugging to a minimum. Now note that this only applies to ability costs, so the specialty results guaranteed will still eat MP if you were curious. When paired with the Thief's up to no good specialty, you can make any BP moves also cost 0 MP, which can be amazing in situations where you want to spam the BP moves from the Thief's moveset. Now, let's move on to the Beastmaster's passive abilities, starting with Raw Power and Brute Force. These two passives grant a physical attack buff once the user has completed certain requirements. Raw Power will give a stacking physical attack 10% damage boost for the user for every use of the Brave command made that turn, capping out at a 30% additive physical attack bonus. This is a wonderful passive to have on any physical attackers throughout the game, since the mileage you'll get out of it gets greater the higher your physical attack gets. Slap this on before entering a dungeon or fighting a boss, and watch your physical attacks deal a crap ton of damage while not needing to change anything about your strategy all too much. Now, Brute Force is actually a 50% physical attack boost, but it requires that the user brave 3 times in that one turn to make any use of it. This can be a little bit more situational, but if paired with a fully utilized Raw Power, the user can effectively have an 80% boost to their physical attack for that one turn. But there is one big thing to keep in mind when deciding whether or not to use either of these passives. They only raise the user's physical attack stat, which caps out at 999. If your physical attacker is already at or near that number, then you won't see any real benefits from these two passives, if any at all. Keep this in mind when outfitting your team. Second up is Spearhead. If the user of this passive has a spear equipped, they will always go first in combat as long as the enemy did not backstab you. If multiple party members have the same passive equipped, then the order of those characters will be randomized. Use Spearhead to push a party member who can debilitate the enemy or buff your team early, since that can allow you to get a great head start in battles that you otherwise might not get a chance to. Next up is MP Saver. When this passive is equipped, all MP costs for actions will be reduced by 20%. This can be stacked with other MP reducing passives and items. I don't think I need to go into detail why this can be a useful passive to have on literally any job that has MP as their main resource, but I'm telling you that anyhow. Now last up for the Beastmaster's passives is Beast Whisperer. When equipped, the user will have a roughly 30% chance of capturing monsters upon defeating them. And yes, before you say anything, Beast Whisperer's chance of success is based on luck, meaning that you can use the Phantom's results guarantee to capture a monster every single time one is defeated. Who would have thought? This passive can let you slowly collect monsters as you progress through the game without much worry of needing to go out of your way to capture a specific creature. It is also the simplest means of capturing monsters if you intend to turn your Beastmaster's stats up to their maximum, as you can just go around mowing them down and getting them with every single kill. So, the Beastmaster obviously has quite a lot going for it, with multiple ways to approach using it in fights, whether it be as a ringleader, constantly sending their beasties into the fray, or as an aggressive attacker that can cut its MP consumption down to 0 before blasting their targets. Because this job is constantly changing to fit the situation, the sub-jobs it has also tends to shift often. As a first pick, the Monk isn't a bad early game choice for a sub-job, as it has access to personal HP and MP recovery, a good damage buff, and some elemental coverage. And if you commit to this pairing, you can also eventually make use of the Monk's defense piercing skills and Focal Blast. I've personally seen success with Shieldmaster as well, taking advantage of the Beastmaster's stats to play as an aggressive tank, taking hits for the team while poking back at the enemy with monsters or Mercy Smash. If you're looking to collect monsters more effectively, the Phantom is probably your best choice, as you can make use of results guaranteed while still having access to your high defense stats if battles take a turn for the worse. But if you are fully committed to making the most out of the Beastmaster's Creature Comfort specialty, then pretty much any job can be a viable choice for a sub-job. Mess around and see what works for you. Beastmaster is a job that switches its identity multiple times throughout the game, from being a situational attacker to a master of monsters, then back to being an attacker for most of the game. At the end of the day, this job can sort of be whatever you want it to be, while having a mechanic that stays relevant longer than you might think initially, while not overstaying its welcome in the later game. Some would argue that the Beastmaster takes the spot as the strongest job in the game, and it isn't hard to see why. Literally. This job all comes down to how much effort you want to put into it. If you want an unstoppable juggernaut, you can have that. If you want a badass monster tamer, that can be arranged. Or if you want something that just isn't another Vanguard or Thief, then that can work too. Now on to the good old-fashioned tier list. Now, okay, I am actually going to spoil my rankings for this real fast, as my opinions on this outfit don't differ that much on any of them. I think these outfits as a whole are a high B tier, and I sort of see them as the standard to meet when it comes to job designs for Bravely Default 2. Now with that said, I do think Seth's black design and hooded look is the overall best of the bunch, with it just being a strong color combo for him, while also just being a nice outfit. I like the hood. The tails and ears are a constant meh due to them not really being necessary for me to recognize this job as a Beastmaster, but it really isn't that big of a deal. Gloria's look takes after the original Asterisk holder, which does make me a little sad since I would have liked to see what her colors would have been otherwise. The overall design is appealing, and I like the rugged sweater and baggy pants look she has going here, but that lost opportunity does weigh on me a little bit. Elvis's design ended up fitting him better than I thought it would, though I am sad to see him ditch the hood that Seth has in place of a pair of ears. But it doesn't hurt the look too much in my opinion, and I really do like the brighter scarf. And then there's Adele, once again, has probably the best colors in her outfit, even if I am sad that she also doesn't have a hood. Solid designs all around that set a new standard for average to above average outfits from this point onward. My opinions are going to get a lot stricter, and I'm excited to see what comes up next.